Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Alchemy with Sheeana Leigh. And I'm really excited to be sitting here today with a beautiful guest that I'm really overjoyed to invite her into this world, into the alchemy world, and share her with you. Her name is Amy, but you may know her as Temple of the Feminine, was her last Instagram account. It was deleted at 65K. Is that correct? Unfairly
No,
by
no, no.
IG?
Just over 16K.
Just over 60K. So it was actually erased by Instagram, deleted, and unfairly, unjustly. And I wanted to bring that in straight here, first and foremost, because we're going to be talking a lot about the feminine, silencing, being audacious. So the way I know Amy and I met Amy is we actually connected via doing the same studies, sex, love, and relationship coaching with Layla Martin, 5, 6 years ago now. But the
Wow.
thing I love about Amy, yeah,
I didn't do that training.
didn't you? How do I know you then?
I feel like we just connected through Instagram.
Stop it. Are you
Yeah.
serious? Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that in because that is absolutely hilarious that I really thought that I connected you through the same love and coaching, that certification.
No,
So did we
no.
really
I mean,
only meet through Instagram
yeah, I feel
and
like we
connect
just
via there?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like,
Oh,
yeah, we've ever had like a chat like this before or been on a video call before. So this
I love
is awesome.
this so much. Okay, well, I actually feel like what Amy shares and who she is as a person is very resonant to what I share. This is probably why I thought we did the same coaching and the same
Yes,
certification.
like same vibe, completely same vibe. I
This
also
is
a lot of people
beautiful.
on labor training as well. Like, yeah, she's amazing.
Oh, okay. Well, Amy does erotic embodiment. She does work somatically as well. And I love her. Basically, I really love
Oh,
her because she is fire. She is passionate. She doesn't really. I remember going through the world through the feminine embodiment space, and everything was like soft and slow and surrendering. But Amy brings this type of passion that I do in the realms of eradicating domestic violence, eradicating abuse against a women. All of this, she's a fierce leader in the feminine space of the realistic reality of the world. Even though she is spiritual, even though she is quite sexual and erotic, she has her own training. And this is a rare breed of woman. I don't find this a lot in our space. They either go to one end of the spectrum where it's all feminine, light, and fluff, and we love, polarity and softening, or they go to the extreme end and spirituality and sexuality and this like over inversion of women's pleasure. But Amy brings that rare flavor that is grounded, real, passionate, and deeply, like, you can feel her depth and her passion for this work. And that's why I love her. And that's why I thought we did training together. But that is how I know Amy, apparently, just through Instagram. And I'm so honored that we have connected via Instagram. Yeah, I would like to hand it over to you and for you to do a little welcome into your world and what your current calling is for women here.
Yeah, thank you. God, that was such a beautiful intro. If you're watching on video, I've got a piece of fringe in my eye that I'm just trying to blink out. If you're wondering why my face is making funny expressions, I'm slowly trying to get that out. Okay, so thank you for that intro. My name's Amy. I now go by Amy Lavinia, Lavinia being my middle name, because the brand that I had built my entire body of work under was Temple of the Feminine. And as you mentioned, that account got deleted, and any any kind of like mock handle of that account that I tried to create got taken down. So it was kind of out of my hands. I could
Yeah.
not create another handle under that kind of brand name. So I'd already been thinking about transitioning anyway, but I am an erotic embodiment facilitator, and that is very true. And sometimes I don't know if that title really encompasses everything that I do, but it is
Of
working with
course.
Yeah, but it's, it's working with the aliveness of the body, but also working on the layers, not just like awakening it and connecting to it. So I'm just popping my dog down, but also addressing like the core root issues of where it got suppressed and how it gets cut off and why we stifle it and why we shut it down. And I also mentor women in business because I run a facilitator training. So I work with a lot of business owners and coaches. And, there's so many parallels in the work in the erotic and work in business. And, one of the core aspects that that comes up in my work that's just emerged and that is just part of my journey, and that I probably see most in my clients, and I see, it's all intertwined, is this like this good girl complex, right? And I don't say that as a to shame it or to judge it, but like, a lot of women who struggle in sex and intimacy and pleasure lean toward, because we've been conditioned to be good, to conform, to toe the line, to shut our sexuality down, to feel shame about it, to play nice. And I see that happening for spiritual wellness women in business as well, right? It's this like stifling of our fire, that fire energy, that passion energy, that sexual erotic energy, that business energy. It's like it's got the same flavor. And I really women who aren't connected to that, like, which, my journey is like connecting to it, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this work if I just already had it. um it's like the same struggles that we have in the bedroom, the same struggles we tend to have in business. And so yeah, I'm using my work. I've been in the industry for like 9 years in different shades and forms, 7 years fully, because I really like to be clear and not like posture and over egg things, but 7 years solely doing this as my sole income, right? So that's what I can hold to. And I'm like, I've got a lot to pass on. I've got a lot to pass on about the inner work that it takes to be erotically alive and run your own business as a woman who has a soft heart and is a bit of a giver, overgiver, and wants to be liked and loved. And so those
Yeah.
challenges in this, like, they present challenges
Yeah,
in
so much
work.
challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love that you actually added that in here because it is, I find a lot of, there's not many of us women in this industry. It's interesting. I think we both started the business around the same time, like solely being online. And maybe that's why I thought, oh, yes. In
Yeah.
regards, yeah, I know. But even though, in my course, like my teaching, in that one alone, there was like 450 women or something. And I
Wow.
can count on one hand, like the amount that I would say like made it, like used the juice, like use the teachings to actually go on and become teachers and leaders and speakers. And I believe that it's all because of everything that you have just stated and shared, that good girl conditioning, that, and a lot of us are very deeply sensitive, like heart led women and beings and want to be of service. And that gets very contorted in the realm of spirituality and business. And then being a woman and having another layer and lens of, yeah, having to be a good woman, having to be feminine. And I'm putting that in air quotes as such. And there's a lot of misconception about what that is and how we should show up. And we're kind of hit from all of these different avenues, like the spirituality side of things, the good wife, good partner, good relationship and intimacy side of things, and then the business side of things. So I feel like as women, we've got different sorts of layers that we have to kind of move through. And not many of us make it out alive, but we need more of us women. And that is why you do a lot of your teachings and trainings, which I love.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, doing this work, or similar, transformative work, women's empowerment work, erotic work, holding space is like half the battle. I know so many women that are so gifted at holding space, but the thing is, you can't apply for a job as a space holder for this. Like, there are not roles to get. You have to run your own business. There just isn't another way. There isn't, like, there's very few. There might be a few schools
Yeah.
or a few like other retreats that you can jump on. But if you want to do this as your sole income, like, you're gonna have to run a business, and those, like, know it, like, business is what we tend to, like, it is a masculine industry, so it's a male dominated thing to do, is to run your own business. I was just thinking, like, even ancestrally, like, women, weren't even allowed our own bank accounts, until the 70s. Our ancestors, we talk about our mums,
Yeah.
they just didn't have those opportunities or availability. So we're having to like rapidly learn like all these new skills. What you train, and that's great. And then you're having to like rapidly learn all these new skills around running a business, whilst your inner world is trying to recalibrate with this whole new identity that goes against everything that you've been conditioned and that your DNA is like encoded to do. So it's like,
Yes.
no wonder so many like train and train, and then it never goes anywhere, because it's just like a complete reorientation of your nervous system and your identity and all of that. And
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a
It
lot.
is so much. It is so much. And I speak about this all the time. And we're starting to see, the world play out and a lot of things shifting and changing. And me and a couple of peers talk about this quite often. Like, the people or the women that need to be leaders or in charge, that have the soft heart, that has the emotional intelligence and literacy, that has the capacity, that have done the inner work, are more often the ones that are not showing up and not making a profit, not making money. They're kind of like in service to the point where that it's a detriment to the, it's actually like having an effect on their body, or they're not having a beautiful return. And then you see on the other side of that people who are fabulous in business, who are great at marketing, that are great at putting on masks and shows and sales. Not all of them, like, this is a generalization. The people that are in charge and are leaders are often the ones that do not have the kind hearts, that do have some control and manipulation tactics running through their body. And it seems like the scales aren't in our favor, and they're kind of, and we talk about this
Yeah.
quite often. And we need those people. Like, we're starting to see the power dynamics shift and shake now. But I still feel like they do need to go through those. Yeah, like, I love that you brought that. It's a new thing for us in our system, in our DNA. Like, this is a new learning for us. Instead of moving in survival strategies, which we have been doing for the last, not that long ago. And I think women forget that we still have that survival programming and that instinct within us to, yeah, not want to compete, or not, or wanting to compete, I should say, because we had to compete for survival a lot. And it's a part that I don't see many people speak on, basically, which I love that you speak on quite articulately, actually.
Yeah. It's, and it's like you say, we need those women at the front, right? The heart centered, the sensitive, the ones that are kind of gifted and attuned in holding these healing spaces and really care and um can deliver, on those things. And and it's like, but when they don't take the stage, when we shrink and hold back, you leave the stage empty for someone who has the audacity to take it. And it's funny because I keep, and you know that this is my word at the moment, and it's like,
my
you
word for
need,
you too. That's why I reached out to you. You started
yeah,
posting about being audacious, and I love that because that was my word for the year. And a couple of years ago, I did a lot of like good girl conditioning, like, or deconditioning and
yeah.
dissolving that. And I'm like, what comes after we dissolve the good girl? Like, what comes? And a lot of my podcast is about this, so it's really resonant for you right now and sharing your gift and your medicine. So please.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what? The audacity is this, it's an ingredient. It's an ingredient that can that can like move us forward, because you know that good girl conditioning, if we think of it on like the level of the nervous system, it keeps it's like, it's either like it can like manifest as freeze or fawn, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't move us, on, it doesn't like move us towards our goals, our passions, our directions, where audacity can ignite and move that forward. And it's like when you were speaking, I was just remembering recently I saw there's this guy who was on the show Love Island, and he's a personal trainer.
Amazing.
And he's brought out this menstrual cycle guide for women to teach them how to work with their menstrual cycles, but he called it
No.
menstrual cycle, as in like my menstrual cycle guide. This is how you can train according to your cycles. I know about your, and I was just like, can you imagine all the women who've like literally sat with the elders to learn about cycles and initiations and whatever, that are like, no, I can't. I can't do that. And then he's just like, download my book, like pay, you know, like sign up to my class and I'll teach you about your menstrual cycle, you know? And I'm like,
Audacious.
I'm like, the audacity. And I'm like, you know what? If the heart-centered women with the intuition and the wisdom and the experience, like they literally like live it, you know, embody it, like they have a menstrual cycle, if they can have some of that audacity, imagine the changes they can make. Imagine not even just the changes for others, because I feel sometimes that is even my good girl, is like, you know, everything's got to be about other people, but like
Yeah.
how they can be like paid for their passions, get money, you know, like be somebody who is, you know, doing what they love as a job, and that's the life they lead, you know. And it's like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
need some of that audacity.
We
The
do.
audacity
We
of
do.
a man learning about the menstrual cycle and selling it back to women.
I love that. But it's also, I mean, that is like the paradigm we've seen out, like playing out in this patriarchal society is women's bodies. One, they're never studied. You know, they're never put into like the medical industry for actual like studying purposes. So even like the nervous system, I've actually gone down the rabbit hole with this one recently. And I love that you brought in the fawn response, because I feel like as women, we predominantly go into the fawn response, and it hasn't actually been heavily studied because, again, our menstrual cycles and our hormonal cycle and depth, it's too hard for the medical industry to actually study. So they study on men and then they just blanket. So one, I find that really interesting that that it's playing out. And not only that, but our sexuality is quite often, our sexuality and our body as women is quite often taken from us and like repackaged and sold back to us of like what it means, like what a sexy body is, like what a gorgeous body is, like how I should be alive and feeling and in my body. And it's all around the male pleasure system as well. Like it's not about our joy and our pleasure. So I find it really interesting. Yeah, and even sexuality, like sex sells in marketing. So we have this over sexualization in the porn industry, which is not real or authentic, you know, being taken from us and sold back to us. And then it just kind of gets repurposed all around us. So I find that really funny that a man has taken our menstrual cycle and kind of taken it and done the pretty predominantly like, you know, blanket thing of, I'm going to take this, because I can talk about it and I have the audacity to, and make money and profit off of it and then sell it back to women. And I feel like, to really stop that cycle, to really is to embody it ourselves, like to have that audacity to own it within ourselves. And audacity is like a very like fire quality that I think has been eradicated from the feminine embodiment spiritual space. We are taught to be humble, we're taught to be in service, we're taught to, surrender on our knees, and if we've got gifts we should be giving it away for free, and you know all of these like narratives and stories that play out to really, yeah, immobilize us and to keep us in that fawn people pleaser response. It's like this continuous cycle that we get stuck on as women. Yeah.
Yes. The spirituality and wellness world are massive enablers of the good girl.
Yes.
And that's why, and then we get into this industry and it's so fucking hard to get anywhere, because it's like, the spirituality is like, be pure, be good, like don't think bad, don't judge anyone, don't think bad thoughts, wellness is like, be weller, be healed, don't have any toxic patterns, don't do anything toxic, don't, like, it's like I've never shamed myself more than when I came into like the wellness and spirituality industry. And I
Yes.
definitely don't. It's like, oh my God, I would like eat a pizza and be like, oh, I'm awful. I failed. Like, how did I give in to my desires for greasy, cheesy, fatty foods? Like, I must get back onto the green juice. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is bring back. I think you reposted this as well. Like, bring back the trashy, hot mess. Like, we need to go back there because we got this, like we gone too clean, like, and it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like purity culture. But I just want to zoom out and say everything is, however you want to live your life is the way you want to live your life, but let's not be driven by shame.
Yes.
Let's not let our spirituality practices, let's not let our wellness practices be coming from a place of shame and suppressing our desires and our truth and our authenticity because we're trying to be good, be a good wellness person, be a good spiritual person, and it just lends to like a lot of gaslighting in the spiritual world. And this is how a lot of harm is able to happen because we're told not to judge, and actually like, oh, I'm just being a bitch or I'm just being mean, when you're actually being discerning and intuitive and you're picking up on something that you fucking need to voice, and trust. And I've got myself into so many sticky situations like in teachers and places because I'm like, oh, that's just a projection of my unhealed stuff. And I'm like, no, honey, that was your gut saying, get the fuck out of here. This ain't good,
Yes. Yes. I love this. I love this so much because it is a very unique quality in a leader, and a feminine, woman leader as well, because I don't see a lot of people talking about this. I don't really see people grounded. Like, you can be spiritual as fuck, but you can also be grounded and a human. Like, we are not here to strip ourselves of desire and strip ourselves, and shame is the shackles that keep us stuck in this life. Like, shame is at the pit of our stomach and plays out on so many areas and levels of our life, or different elements of our life. And shame is the thing that definitely kept me, like, spirituality. Oh my God. I am a very spiritual woman. I believe so. Like, we are all very spiritual beings, right? In terms of like being connected to the other side, or connected to, all these sorts of things. Like, but it's like, I don't have to put on a mask to be that way. Like, I can still be who I am. I can still swear. I can still be like, I'm very Australian, sort of bogan-ish. And I'm like, that is who, but oh man, did I try and push myself into this like box when I was in spirituality, of like, I had to be like pure, I had to be innocent, I had to be vegan, I had to be I had to wear certain clothes. Like but that actually was all a facade. Like that wasn't who I am at my core. Like, and it actually took me a fair bit of like swimming through so much shit to get back to this truth of like, I am passionate, I am fiery, I am like all of these elements they tell us is not feminine or not, spiritual. Like, but that is who I am at my core, authentically. And that is true. And also I can be spiritual, like it doesn't have to look a certain way, and I can also be heart led. Like I also don't need to put up with other people's shit, which definitely gets regurgitated. Everything is a reflection of your self mirror, which literally leads us into the most abusive, toxic relationships and dynamics of our lives. And it is force fed to us as women, like absolutely shoved down our throats. And I don't know why. When we're such internal, like biologically, as women, we are much more inclined, like how our brain and chemicals work, we're more internal anyway. Like we're more reflective, and we're also very community based. We're often thinking about others around us. Whereas men, and this is probably where the fuck they get their audacity from, they're less, they don't think about the general community. They are very self-orbiting. And I said, the world is set up for them to be very, and you call it ego or whatever, but they honestly look to the self and they think about themselves. And I'm not saying like internally self-reflective. I'm talking like that, they're not inner reflective. They're outward projecting.
Self needs.
Yes. And it's like, well, and I have learned that over time, especially because I have worked with a lot of couples too, like I see this dynamic play out and play out. And it actually is a cause of friction in a lot of relationships. Like women are wanting to be seen and heard and understood and connect on a heart level with their partners. And men, don't know how to do that and are kind of like, oh, I have to learn this whole new way. And it's quite interesting to see that play out and then expand it out and see that on a much more global way, like a global level. Like this is what how we're predominantly wired. So it makes sense that we have to actually learn to be more audacious, learn to take up space, learn to stop making everything our fault or everything is personal. And that helps you sort of step up and be seen and be heard and understood in a way that you stop giving a fuck.
Yes. It's the antidote really of the good girl, isn't it? And it's like, it's not about overriding our sensitivities. It's not about losing our heart-centeredness. It's just like you said, it's like overcoming where the areas where those parts of us can become like over nurtured, like, or over amplified to the point where they prevent us from doing what we came here to do. They put us in freeze, they put us in fawn, they burn us out, we overgive, we undercharge, we people please, we put other people's pleasure before ours, we suppress our desires, and we just become, I just get this feeling, and I know it because like I've embodied it, of like being in a drought, like my inner world is in a drought because I'm just like giving out to everyone, and it's like just the dry Sahara desert, like I don't like dry things, I don't like dry food, don't like a dry pussy, don't like dry things. When I'm in my good girl, I'm in a drought. Like it's just like everything's just dried up because I've just given everything out. And it's like, I need to be like a wet, watered, audacious woman.
I love that so much. A wet, watered, audacious woman. And it's so true because I love that too. I love being satiated. Like
Yes, satiated.
Yes. Like, and that's
It's such a
another
good
quality.
word.
It is. And it's a word that we get told again in the communities that we are not meant to have a hunger. One, we're not meant to have a hunger, and we're not meant to yeah, like quench that hunger, like feed it, like satiate ourselves and our souls, which is the
And
art of being like, that's why we're here. What do you
and
mean?
because, it's like we're talking metaphorically hunger, but like the way women are told to be physically small and not eat and to shrink, and the way the wellness world, like, and I'm not shitting on these things individually, but like focus on like fasting and clean eating and small meals, and like I'm like, why aren't we feasting? Like,
Yes.
why are we, like, we're like on in every aspect, why won't we let ourselves feast? Why are
Yes.
we like, it's like deprivation all the time? Like, why won't we let ourselves be abundant when we live in like the free world? We're privileged enough to be in this world, but there's this just constant deprivation, constant shrinking, constant starving, constant. It's the good girl, isn't it? It's all these
Yeah.
iterations of the good girl conditioning, and I do, and maybe this is the good girl in me saying it, but if fasting in and of itself as a practice, if it makes you feel good, great. But there's a bigger, I've been definitely slightly disordered eating in my wellness journey. I don't know that I was always
Yeah.
choosing the wellness because it was feeling well. It made me feel good because I was being small and tiny, and shrinking, and so my ego felt good. I don't know
Yeah.
if I physically felt better
No,
from not
probably
eating
not.
that.
But it's even interesting, like on a somatic level, even when you go into like, that um dehydration, because that is actually what happens to our fascia. Like our fascia, like the network around our organs, because I talk about like calcification of the body quite often, but it's actually a dehydration. So as women, we need to be watered a lot more than men. We actually does we our body needs more water to move blood around, to move it to our womb. Like we need more water, and we also have a lot more fascia networks around like our womb and our ovaries and our organs, to help with that hormonal reproductive system and the endocrine system. And it's interesting
Right.
because they literally get dehydrated and harden. And this is
Yes.
like, so yes, we are talking metaphorically per se, but also deeply on a physical level and layer. These things actually like stop us from showing up, like stop
Yeah.
our body from feeling quenched and satiated. It actually has real biological, physical effects on us, which I don't think is talked about enough in our world too. Even in the somatic field world, they don't talk about this. And it's one and the same. Yes, we're talking about these conditionings and paradigms, but they actually have real physical ailments within us over time. Like as women, we're seeing more and more, we are getting PCOS, endometriosis, which are largely linked to this dehydration of the fascia and like the shutting down of our life force and our juice and our wetness. Like
Yeah.
we actually truly need to be watered. And not only that, but we're seeing the rise of women like stuffing everything down. And we have this huge, and I think it's going to get worse currently, of autoimmune disorders and diseases in women and pain within our body and our joints because we are not lubricated. We are not lubricated. We are not satiated. We're dehydrated. Like it's actually
Yeah.
having these conditions are actually fucking us up, and it's not spoken about enough.
We're not full. We haven't been filled up and wet.
God, it's so good. I'm loving this
I
conversation
mean,
so
yeah,
much. My head
the
is so
crossovers,
full.
the parallels are just endless, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that, because that's the erotic, isn't it? Being like, yeah, being open and juicy and wet and then filled up,
Yeah.
being well fucked, which is being full.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is I never knew all this about the I didn't know the, like, the actual physical drink, drinking of water, taking on water in the body. But it makes so much sense, you know, it makes so much sense. Just, you know, being hydrated keeps everything going. And women's bodies are softer. Like we hold more water, like because we need more water. We are like you know, that kind of, it's the traditional like Greek goddess-esque body. It's like this soft, sort of like supple, you know, not brittle, not dry, not dry.
Not dry. We need to be wet and filled. That is the key here.
Filled.
So true. And I actually am like getting a little emotional about it, because we are taught not to want that or not to
I
desire
know.
that. Right.
No,
And
it's not always in, it's not even in most women's awareness
yeah,
to think, because we also are not really attuned as much to think about receiving, well, particularly the women that are kind of in my world, because we lean towards more, you know, we're the caregivers, we're the nurturers, we are the ones who mother and take care, and you know, and it's like an outward energy, and that's when it's like, well, what's pouring in? Not
yeah.
water.
The water. We need
Not water.
fluids. Pour the fluids into us,
Oh,
please.
yes.
It's so true. It's like also like what gets us wet internally as well. It's not even just everyone pouring into us. Like, yes, that is delicious. And women, same with my field of work, like receiving, so hard for women. They don't know how to, like, it has to be taught to them. You know, they've been taught to focus on the village and not on themselves.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, yeah, like learning to receive, and then also learning to receive from self, like the amount that they don't even pour into themselves, or like let themselves be aroused by life around them and like fill up their own internal wetness, like let themselves like open to that erotic fluid, because that is the juice of life, you know. And so many women are disconnected and numb to their bodies in that sense,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
again, like how can you show up in business and, you know, if you're numb, like business and
Yeah.
leaders need to be connected to their bodies in
Yeah.
an ideal world.
I mean, otherwise, it just, I mean, it may, it's something that I've been reflecting on, because I definitely know for me as a business leader, I don't think I would do any business work coaching that wasn't body based.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, there's some sort of practical strategy stuff that I could do, but I maybe just outsource it. I don't know. Just you look it up on you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like I don't understand how we're running a business if you are the you know, and if you're not connected to your body, if you're not looking after your nervous system, if you're not doing some kind of inner work to support you, because that has been the main thing that has allowed me to build and sustain a business. It has not been funnels. Yeah, I'm sure I could benefit from some more funnels or whatever, but you know what I mean? I don't think I would focus on making funnels or getting someone to make funnels if it was just that. It has to be, I had to be able to move through these feelings of insecurity, of fear, of imposter syndrome, of good girl conditioning, of burnout, these cycles of like full energy and collapse. Like I had to learn to fucking work through that, and I had to have the passion to do it, you know, and a funnel wasn't going to do that for me.
Unfortunately, no, a funnel isn't going to do that. But I wonder if
Yeah.
it's just because of our service. Like we are in a service base, and we actually do, like, you can feel this very authentic heart calling from, you know, leaders or people in our industry, or people, I can feel when people have this deeper, like heart-centered calling and why to this work. And I wonder if that's, you know, if we were just servicing people and it was just like a numbers based thing or a money based thing, like I don't think I would have as much care or as much wounding to work through. It's quite interesting, but I was very much the same. I had to work through so many of my own fears and and conditions, being seen, being heard. Like, as a sexuality practitioner, when I first started, I was a very large woman, and I moved through like what nobody wants to see a somebody in a fat body like talk about sex and sexuality. Like, we all have our own wounds and our own
Yeah.
fears to step up into this work. And it's true, like I don't think I could have stepped into this, and I have seen so many people not step into this because you need to go through the body, to go through these layers of conditionings and wounding to be able to show up authentically and follow that fire, follow that calling in a way that is not centered or not feeding your own wounds and ego. That is like a very, like, I am here to do this. I have done this myself. I am here. And that is like a testament to you as well, and the embodiment of you, which again, I don't see in a lot of teachers in this realm, especially around business as
Yeah.
well. You see a lot of they go on the pendulum swing. It's all like feminine, just receive. And I went down that trap too. I'm like, I'm just gonna have a feminine business, and then I fucking did nothing.
Oh, wouldn't it be nice? It would be nice if, like, I just sat and I wished it into existence, but unfortunately, yeah, you're gonna have to do some work.
Yes. And then it's like the other end of the pendulum, like the other side of the pendulum swing, where it is very harsh. Like on the flip side, it's harsh and it's not heart centered, and it's very, I need to make 10K months and I'm just going to push through my body. And and we need to find our like happy equilibrium. But as embodiment facilitators, you can tell when other people have done that deep embodiment work, and they are coming from service and authenticity, and they have that air of audacity as well. But it is a bit more messy, it is a bit more human, and it's a lot more fucking relatable, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm kind of like going through a layer of it now. Like, since my Instagram account got deleted, I was really kind of like, you are just all over the place, really, and kind of like holding this business where I was like, I don't know what the future looks like. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to sustain this. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I feel like I've got a new message coming through, but it's not fully formed. I don't know, blah blah blah. I'm like, it was just, and it's like I just carried on. And it's like, let it be messy, and also can attest to moments where I'm like second guessing myself, needing to really come back to my medicine, really needing to come back to self-trust, like sitting with myself, going in and being like, right, what is really true here? What is the right next step? What do I need? Yeah. I took a break. I held a retreat in October, and then it wasn't until the end of January when my facilitator training began. I didn't hold big space. I had some one-to-one clients, business clients that I was mentoring, and I didn't hold any space in between that period. So I did actually take quite a big break from holding big containers, because I needed that, because I needed to kind of like steady myself in this like instability period of instability. And because it let me go back to what you said about it being quite unique to running a business that you're really passionate about, that almost feels like it's your purpose, and where you are kind of the product. Do you know what I mean? If I was selling candles, yeah, I might feel slightly different. I might not take everything so personally. I might not feel so insecure about posting on Instagram if it's a free, and I'm just saying this candle's great because it smells like this. You're having to hype up your ability to hold the space. You're having to, you know, be like forward facing, like you're having to show your face, you're having, you know, you can't hide behind a product, you know, you can't hype up the product, you have to kind of hype up you and what you've created and your
Yeah.
abilities.
Yeah. It's hard.
And it's also like, because it's really hard to separate your self-worth from what you do, you know.
Yeah.
um yeah, it's almost a bit easier if you just train in someone else's modality and then deliver and just be like, this modality is really great, you know, and I'm just by chance do that.
Yes. I
You know,
agree.
creatrix as well, and you like, you create your offers and you're creating, you know, you're putting together things. It's like, well, no, I did this, and so I have to kind of like now champion it, but I
Yeah.
feel so uncomfortable championing myself, you know.
Yeah, it feels so uncomfortable doing that. Like, I don't think people realize, and I could not imagine, like, I really want to, like, hold space for the enormity of 60,000 people. Is a lot of
Sorry,
people.
16,000.
16,000?
16, yeah.
It's a lot. It doesn't even matter. It's like a lot to, like, for me, I've been on social media and running my business for about 6 years now, and I have like 1,300, like one 1,300. You know, it's small, it's tiny. I couldn't comprehend having that many, and it just being eradicated, especially when it is your business. It is like your survival. It is where you have, but it's also like, yeah, there is pieces of you. Like every time I show up on Instagram, it's not just like a little silly Instagram. Like I pour my heart and soul onto those pages. I really dive into write, like I write really deep. And every offering, like I said, that I create comes from not one modality. It comes from a lifetime of embodiment and modalities and deep, like it is a mold not only of all of those modalities, but my lived embodied experience, as I'm sure is the case with you. There is a certain flavor of that that can't be copied. That is a once in a lifetime thing. And then to create something, they're like little babies, like these little projects or these little offerings are babies. Like you put it out into the world and you're putting your heart out there, like as a little baby, and you actually genuinely are doing it for other people. You've built this for yourself. You want other people to feel a certain way or to move, or there is always like a deeper calling and purpose there. And there is always an element of like rejection, fear. What if nobody likes this? What if nobody pays and shows up? Like, what if? And I don't think that is spoken about enough, because everybody just likes to put this layer on social media that everything's fine, everything's happy and bubbly. And yes, like I sold out my offer and it's incredible. Like no one actually tells you that behind the scenes, like it's really hard. It's really hard,
Yeah.
that you do need that oomph. You do need that calling and that drive and desire. And absolutely, it is like putting ourselves out there in our field. And that can be daunting, especially when there's like no support, because everybody thinks you're
Yeah.
just doing like a little silly Instagram or whatever it is. They
Yeah.
don't
You
grasp.
literally have to be your own cheerleader. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
you don't have a manager, you don't have a HR team, you don't have a team, you know, and it's like this sort of, you know, all losing my Instagram has brought back a lot of those vulnerabilities of being kind of like a beginner, because you know, it's not even just losing that reach, that amount of people, because I'm like down to like 900. So
Yeah.
it's not just that, it's like my social proof has gone. It's like my shop front has gone, you know. It's you know, I've had someone who has kind of discovered me or met me since this new account, and they were like, you should do something around women's sexuality. And I'm like, oh no shit.
You do.
And, you know, I was like, I was kind of, they said something along that lines, like, you should really talk about this. And I was like, yeah, I kind of been doing that for 6 fucking years, man. And they, if you had have seen, and so I'm having to kind of take that reflection of like, you don't have that instant, oh, she's really established, she's really been doing this, like I don't have that now. It's gone. And I've had to kind of like suck that up a bit. And I'm like almost going to have to rebuild my social proof. And like, but like you said, we're talking that Instagram I had for 9 years, right? But for a solid 6 years, posting sometimes 3 times a day, Instagram lives, videos, stuff for magazines and brands and blah blah. Like it's heartbreaking. It's too heartbreaking for me to really like. It's one of those things I'm not trying to spiritually bypass. I have done some grieving. I'm sure there's more to come, but I have to let it fucking go because it's just too like I can't let that drag me too down. You know, it's a real good harsh reminder or lesson that it's not your platform, you know, and it
Yeah.
makes me now like now I just sort of post like snappy reels and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to invest like the way that I would just deliver. Like I used to say, if you really can't afford to work with me, you could go and you were really committed. You could go through my Instagram and create a course for yourself and like create transformational work. I'd do practices and everything, you know, but I don't know if I'm going to give my new platform that much anymore. Like, I just think it's just going to be like top headliners, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, you
hard.
did.
I'm hardwired to share as well.
Yeah.
Like it's like second
Your old
nature now.
account was very sexuality, erotic based. And again,
Absolutely.
you know, and it was fire. Like I'm not gonna lie, like it was absolutely fire. But you know, who going through this process and this like refinement, I would say, on what you're doing and what you're moving through, like I can feel that it's hitting a bit harder, you know, like it is actually like I'm like, oh yeah, like everything you do share, even though, and it's funny that you're having this, I'm just like light and fluffy, and it's like, but you can actually feel I really,
Well, maybe not light and fluffy, but maybe like I'm not spending a lot of time writing
I hear
things
that.
out. I've kind of got a bit I've fallen a little bit out of writing for myself, but
Yeah.
like maybe not sort of like I'm not going in depth. So I might be quite hard hit, like I guess I'm kind of hooking people in, but
Yes.
not that like a big I'm not writing big long captions anymore, or I mean sometimes I do.
Yeah.
It
Sometimes
feels
maybe when I feel
like
like it.
I don't feel like I'm investing a lot in creating posts at the moment. So and
Yeah,
that just feels
understandable. Like
yeah.
after being burnt like that, after actually, because you know, I am a big advocate for like non-silencing, right? Like I get
Yeah, right.
shadow banned all the time, and my Instagram is so PG. Like I, you know, code a lot. Like it's bizarre that me of all people, like I got banned once for posting a water photo. It was, you know, and I'm not showy, but anyway, point of the story is I get really fired up about silencing of women and
Yeah.
silencing, you know, because it's toxic. Like like
Yeah.
that is how nobody listens, and you know that's how abuse. Like I'm so passionate about eradicating like abuse against women and being an advocate for people who can't speak up, who are in situations where they're not allowed to. So to actually have this platform where you have built that, you've built your voice, you've put your heart into it, and then to be silenced, like, oh, nothing hits me in the wounding, like in the body more than that. Like every time I get shadow banned or whatever, like there's this deep, like I can't use my voice. I can't speak up. I
Yeah.
can't be seen. I can't be witnessed. I can't, you know, I'm bad. Like whatever the story is, it hits on all those levels. So I'm like really, one, I'm like so proud and so glad that you're still here with us, sharing your work, sharing your voice, and you pushed through those, because know you would have had like a million ego deaths and who am I moments. So thank you so much for doing that, because, because it's
You're
so
welcome.
needed. You're welcome. Thank you. You give service.
It's
Because
fine.
yeah, there is a level, like even like I, you know, I'm not all the way there yet. Like I couldn't even imagine being like seen by that many people, and like I'm even going to jump into one of your business things because I love what you do and what you share, and it's so needed for women like us, like the ripple effect that you have just by being you and being present, whether it's going deep or not, is powerful. So
Thank you. And yeah,
yeah.
like we like you said about the it's the silencing is exactly what we're here to do. We're here to amplify women's voices, to get them to take up space, to get them to be more in their bodies and to be full in their bodies, to be full and wet and loud, all those things. So being silenced is just, it's not an option. If there's ways of finding our voices and finding other avenues, then I'll take them, because we need more women like us flying that flag and taking that space up and being models of that.
Beautiful. I'm feeling like this is probably naturally coming to a close, but I would love to ask you, before we go, I really wanted to ask you, one, I want to ask you, like, if you were going to take a woman, if you were going to give her one tip from dissolving this good girl bullshit and coming into your audacious flavor, what would that tip be? What would that wisdom be you'd love to pass on?
Get into your hips and your pelvis. Start moving from your hips and your pelvis. Start grinding, start writhing. Get into your pussy and your hips and your pelvis and see what happens.
Yes, I love that. Yum. And I'm curious, get wet, baby, get wet.
Get wet and full and satiated.
Yes. And I'm curious do you feel like there's anything else that you wish to share that we haven't gone into that you would love, any other wisdom that you'd like to impart before we wrap up at all?
I guess then I'll just add a piece that's more less like a practice. Because when I say get in, I know that sounds like you might be like, what am I talking about? And I'm like physically like a somatic practice to get in there. But let your passion be bigger than the fears. Like let that fire for what you're there to do and the change, let it be bigger than the fear. The fear is the ego, the I, and the passion that we want is the we. There's more of us in the we. The passion, that fire is bigger than the small I, not the you are important, but like the little I that is just afraid of everybody judging you. Your passion for the change needs to be your fire for that. Stoke that fire. Get it to be bigger than that I.
I love that so much. And it's so true. One of the things that really serves me is like, get the fuck over yourself. Like, get out of your own way, because it's quite funny. And this is a bit of a side note. It's quite funny that the thing that you're afraid of, or the fear that keeps you ruminating within yourself, is actually quite selfish. Like, when you actually put it on a little flip, like, it is like it is a disservice to the world and those around you to be so ruminating in the self and in your wounding that you are not showing up and giving your gift. So it's like, get out of your own way, kind of get over yourself a little
Get
bit.
over yourself.
Get
Yeah, nobody really cares that much.
no.
And then they forget it. Like they might be like, oh my God, she posted that. She's da da da, and then they are over it. It's the modern day newspaper. It's yesterday's news. You'll be your fish and chip shop wrap tomorrow.
Shop wrap. That is so good.
I don't know what in Australia, but yeah, like we use newspapers to wrap fish and chips.
Yes. I know. And it's yes. That's why I'm like, that is so good. You'll be chucked out tomorrow or today. Like, it won't matter.
Yeah, they might cancel you, but they'll forget tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
So true. Look at the world we live in. We cancel everybody within, and
be not to take it too dark. You could be doing awful things and you still won't get cancelled. You could just still run the world. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep.
Yes, it's not that deep. And I think we need to bring some of that back into our work, because it is deep and it is serious but paradoxal. It's really not that deep, and you can be a silly
Yeah.
goose. Like, you need to bring
Yeah.
that joy back in because the world needs it. Like, you need it.
That's what I mean. That is the balance for the good girl, the heart-centered, the deep thinker, the space holder, the sensitive woman. The antidote is those little reminders, like, come on, like, because that's going to get the movement going. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It has been an absolute pleasure. And honestly, I have loved this chat so much. I'm so sorry that I got us mixed up with where we actually connected. That is so
Right.
fucking
I
funny.
was like, I love that you just they're like, yeah, she could have been on Layla's training. That's a compliment. That's
Like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna leave it in there because, like, this is the art, like, you know, of being a mess and showing up anyway and not perfecting anything, and it's still being delicious. I bet you guys all forgot about that story by the time we got into the depth of this whole podcast and how amazing Amy is, right? So you can be imperfect and show the fuck up. And yeah, I would really love to share how people can work with you, how people can connect with you before we say goodbye.
Yes. The easiest way is to come and find me on Instagram. She says she deleted, so maybe it's not the easiest. But my Instagram handle is I am Amy Lavinia. But my website is still Temple of the Feminine. So if I ever go down, you can always find me there until I change that name. And then you're just gonna have to put it out to the gods and ask.
Send some smoke signals. Howl under the moon. Like, she'll hear you. Yeah. Oh gosh. And you have a few things coming up at the moment. You're running a free business masterclass at the moment, which I am going
Yes,
to
yes,
jump
yes.
into. Yeah.
Amazing. And then there will be a deeper container to come into after that, running at the end of March, depending on when this is coming out. But yeah, and that will be really, really beautiful journey to start to nurture the things that we've been talking about here if you're running a business like this.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you. As I said, it has been an absolute honor to connect with you deeper. It's funny that we've never connected deeper, but I've just always felt like we've connected deeper in some space or capacity.
Yeah, we've definitely had chats. I definitely know, yeah, you've shared some stuff with me that really touched me in the past, excuse me. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been really
I love
nice.
that.
Thank you for having me on. I
Thank
appreciate it very
you.
much.
I will be sharing snippets of this. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any deeper insights or little snippets or naggly feelings that you're wanting to voice, reach out to myself in the DM or comment, and we will get back to you. You are amazing. You're so unique. I love your flavor. I love what you do and how you service the world. And I actually am genuinely filled up that you are in my life, even though it's even just through the Instagram ethereal world. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck
but
yes.
that is part of the world now, isn't it? You know?
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah,
All right.
grateful for you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. See you next time. Bye.